All right. The coding challenge for today. A child is playing with a ball on the nth floor of a tall building. The height of the floor is unknown as a variable h. He drops the ball out of the window. The ball bounces, for example, to 2/3 of its height, a bounce of 0.66. So ball bounces to 2/3 of its height. Mother looks out of a window 1.5 meters from the ground. How many times will the mother see the ball pass in front of her window, including when it's falling and bouncing? Three conditions must be met for a valid experiment. Float parameter h in meters must be greater than 0. Float parameter bounce must be greater than 0 and less than 1. Float parameter window must be less than h. If all three conditions above are fulfilled, return a positive integer, otherwise return -1. The ball can only be seen if the height of the rebounding ball is strictly greater than the window perimeter. And they give us some examples, and there's also some examples here. So I'm going to take this example first. And so the result should be 3. We'll make the 3 variables. So I don't know if I fully understand this one. So the ball bounces to 2/3 of its height. In this case, so it sounds like this 2/3 is not going to happen every time. So this time it's 1. So it bounces. So this is how high it bounces. It bounces to 1.98, and 1.98 is greater than 1.5. So the answer is supposed to be 3. So I'm going to just draw this out. So we're going to say this is 1.5. This is 3. So, and then this is 0. Not to scale. So balls dropped. That's one time through where the person at 1.5 sees. And then it bounces up to 1.98. So we're going to say that's right here. So that's 2 times the person can see it. And then it goes back down. That's a 3rd time that the person can see it. So that's 3 times. So that makes sense to me. So if it bounces past that person, they see it 2 more times. They see it as it's going up, it passes, and down. So I can just add 2 each time. So if num bounces equals 1. So initially, or a number of, I'm going to call it num bounces. I'm not going to call it num bounces because that's confusing. Number num. What are we calling this thing? I don't know. I'll call it num c ball. So when the ball's dropped, you see the ball exactly once, and then if you see it bounce, you'll see it 2 more times. So if h dot bounce is greater than this window, then num c ball plus equals 2, and then num c ball. So it does equal 3, so that works. In this case, should return a -1, and that's because I didn't take into account any of these conditions right here. So h must be greater than 0. So if h is greater than 0, then I got a bunch of these conditions. So I'm just going to write them out individually. Bounce must be greater than 0 and less than 1. And bounce is greater than 0. And bounce is less than 1. And window must be less than height. And window is less than height of h. If all of these conditions, then we're going to print out this num_c ball, else print -1. So that works. And then let's run it for this example. And it should return -1 if we typed it in right, or if I typed it in right. And that works, so cool. Let me test out some other examples here. So this one is 2.5 and 1. Let me just type it in, 2.5 and 1. So that returns 1, which is, I believe, right. And then 3.66 and 1.5, that's the one I just ran. This one I'm definitely going to get wrong. I'm not going to get 15. 30.66 and 1.5. 30.66 and 1.5. And I get 3. And let me think about this. How do we get 15 times? So 30, so h times bounce. When it bounces once, it bounces back up to 19.8. So this is the first bounce. Bounce 1. And then after the second bounce, it's going to go to, or bounce 2. So this would be, so it still is going past the window. So I need to account for that. So I'm going to do a while loop, while true. So I'm going to keep doing this, running this while loop until h times bounce is less than window. So I'm going to make a new variable h, or not a new variable, update this variable, h times bounce. And if this variable is greater than window, then I want to add 2 to it. And I'm going to get rid of this print statement because it's a little confusing right now. Else break. Or else break and or print num_c ball. Ooh, I think that's right. And 15. So cool. Let's do 0.75, this last example. And 21. So cool. This looks like it's right. So I'm gonna put this in the function now. And I do need to update some small things. So all this needs to be indented. I want to return this instead of a break statement. So return num_c ball. I can get rid of the break. And then I also want to return -1. So cool. Awesome. So this is my solution. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. I always like to see the solutions after. And yeah, they did a similar with the while loop. They found like a formula for it. Well, cool.